Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning to you on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning. As always, I pray that you find yourself as you awaken this morning healthy, happy, healed, and whole. Good morning. Let somebody know that we are on the air. Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Good morning to all of you. I pray you had a great night of rest. And I also pray that you caught me last night and you are fasting with me and others for what we dealt with on last night. The situation in Ukraine concerning the people that look like you and I. But this morning we're going to get back to where we were on Monday. Understanding, being at peace with being who you are. I don't want you to get a misunderstanding of what I'm saying. Be at peace with being who you are. But it's not okay to be at peace knowing that there's so much in you that needs to come out of you, and you have boxed it in. Being at peace doesn't mean you won't get agitated and aggravated by what needs to be developed, by what needs to come out. All of us, and this is what I've been hammering since the beginning of this year, the ending of last year, all of us have something special on the inside of us. And many of us were victimized because we didn't have anyone there to help us understand it. And there are many who understood it but took advantage of it and developed you for their purpose, their use, but never allowed you to develop for who God made you to be. So there are a lot of us that God placed in this world to be special. There are a lot of us who really and truly don't know who we are. And some don't like themselves because they don't see nothing in them that's worth liking. Ask yourself this. Do you believe that God placed you here just so you can help others like, love, improve themselves, and didn't give any of that for you concerning yourself? When you think about phases and fads, it's just somebody decided they were at peace with themselves, with being who they are, and they decided they were going to present themselves in that fashion. And then others in droves follow suit. Well, you have to know that there's a time for all of us to develop the characteristic of being a follower. But you have to realize, baby, you were created to also lead. Now, the greatest characteristic of a leader is fellowship. But at some point, every child, whether they are prepared or not financially, mentally, every child leave the nest. Well, wait, I'm lying. Not in today's time. Not today's time. You got some people that's laying in the cut in the nest waiting for their parents to go on home to glory so they could just inherit everything. But in my day and time, every child, when they became of age, whether they were mentally ready or not, had to leave the nest to go and find themselves, so to speak. And my question to you today Have you found yourself? Do you know who you are? And if you do, are you at peace with being who you are? I know for me personally, it was a challenging task because I wasn't like anyone in my family. I had the same DNA. I had some of the same characteristics and features, but my mind was so different than everyone else in the house. My life was so different than everyone else in the house. And it was challenging because when you uncover who you are, it sets you apart from everyone else. It's almost like it brings you to this bridge. And as you're on this bridge, it's crossing you over. But when you get to the middle of the bridge, it's almost like there's no more bridge left and you can't go backwards. You got to jump off. You don't have no parachute. You don't have no safety net. You don't have anyone there to help you, anyone there to comfort you. But it's something that is necessary that you do for yourself, that you would get an understanding of who you are. And let me also put this nugget here. You cannot discover whatever your situation may be. You cannot uncover or discover who you are without going to the creator of you to get a better understanding of what you were created out of. It leads back to the origin. And I ask the question, if it was you, think about this. I must encourage you right here. I don't know the situation that you were produced in and out of, but what I do know is God does not make mistakes. So whether your mom and dad got together on a hookup, whether your mom and dad got together by way of a challenge, a dare, a one-night stand, whatever it was, God allowed that to be, that you would be. Listen, and I don't want to make it sound so loose, but whether you knew your father or not, whether he was there or not, whether your mother was there or not, whether you knew her or not, you were born on purpose. And therefore you must know that you live for purpose. But you have to know what's inside of you. You have to be at peace with who you are. But you have to first get an understanding of who you are. I'd ask the question, out of the 100, why were you the one that God said is going to come forward with life? Why? You think God birthed you into this world and leaped over all the other eggs that you would come and have no purpose? Think about that. And listen, I need you right now. I'm praying with you and I'm praying for you, but I need you right now to just throw out everything you've heard someone say that was derogatory, that was demeaning. You know, the people that told you you'll never be nothing, the people that told you you're not nothing, the people that may have said your daddy wasn't anything, so you won't be anything. Discard all of that. The Bible tells us to cast down imaginations, thoughts that exalt itself above the knowledge of God. That means concerning you, you cannot listen, nor should you ever believe anyone that tells you you're nothing. You'll never be nothing. And I'm telling you, I don't care what your age is. It's never too late to tap into your purpose. It's been lying dormant long enough. But the reason it's lying dormant is because there may be some fear in you to wake it up. Because if you wake it up, it's going to require of you to devote time to it. It's going to require of you to devote developmental to it. It's going to require of you to devote sacrifice to it. And sometimes, please hear me and hear me good, sometimes the hardest thing to do is to do something for yourself. We can do something for everybody else, but it's hard for us to do something for ourselves. And this is why so many people come around and make you believe they care about you, make you believe they have your best interests at heart. And all these Negroes want to do is just use you for what God gave you to be a blessing unto yourself. One of the greatest things for me personally is to bridle my mouth because I was born to talk. I was purposed to talk. And there are sometimes I see some things and I just want to say something. But I've learned that Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 encourages me to encourage myself to trust in the Lord with all of my heart and lean not to mine own understanding. In all of my ways, acknowledge the Lord and allow him to direct my path. Because you see something, it's not always good to just say something. And if we trust God, them Negroes that think they're slick, they'll pay for it. Oh, they're going to pay for it. They're going to get theirs. Worry yourself not. Trouble yourself not. But I need you now, from now on. As a matter of fact, I need you right now to look in the mirror. And as you look in the mirror and you see yourself, be honest with you about what you don't like, about what you see. Be honest with you about what you do see and you know need to be changed, rearranged, ejected. Because when you have things about you that other people have planted in you, the injection can cause an infection. And it's sad to say many of us suffer from that infection because we've been beaten up, we've been misused, we've been abused. And when we look at ourselves, we see something we don't like. Because of layers, piles and piles of foolishness that people who should have been given a hand up to help lift us up, they put their hand down, but they put it on our heads to keep us down. People that we've given our heart to have used it for their own playground. People we have allowed access to our mind. Literally and truly, we're on a task to mess us up. Listen, you ought to always take inventory of self and those that you have allowed to become connected to yourself. Because some folk, the devil will send to be a part of your life to pollute you. Others to dilute you. And if you don't ask God to give you eyes to see, if you don't ask God to reveal to you the hearts of the people that are around you, these people will drain you every day of your life. They will make you believe that if they are not a part of you, you don't have life. And what I'm trying to make you understand is you need to do inventory concerning yourself to see who's misplaced and who's out of place. Because some folk that are in your life will tell you whatever they feel you need to hear, just that you will continue to hold them up. You're holding them up, but they're holding you down. You're keeping them up, and they're keeping you down. We when it comes down to self, we have to wake up. We have to wake up because God has something so special in you that I would hate for you to get to that place of judgment and you have no answer for why you did not fulfill your purpose. You have no answer for why you could not become at peace with who you are. If you have a learning disability, pray and ask God who to trust with that information that they can help you. If you have some type of deficiency, pray and ask God how to use it to enhance who you are. Everything about you is to be different because you are different. I've watched throughout the years a lot of people make other people's lives their lives. Baby, you have to understand concerning you the difference between fantasy and reality. God did not put you here to duplicate anyone that is here or anyone that you see. God put you here to be the best me. And that's what you have to remind yourself of every day. It's okay to become inspired by people, but it's never okay to want to be the people that inspire you. I shared with you on the other day, he that control image, control minds. Why? Because the image they paint gives you thought to think. And if you look at someone, you're struggling, you look at someone that look like they got it going on, you're looking at someone that look like they don't have a care in the world, you're looking at someone look like life is so easy. You have to understand that many people that you're looking at put on airs, they act before you, that they can continue to keep you where they have you at. If you could just follow some of those people home. If you could just follow some of those people home, you will realize that who you became inspired by is much, much worse off than what you are. And also, if I can put this nugget here, nuggets of knowledge, of course, you have God fighting with you to release people that he no longer want around you from you. We hold on and we struggle with letting some people go. Why? Because, oh my God, it just looked like they meant so much to me. They did so much for me. They inspired me. They impacted me. They encouraged me. Let me give you this nugget. You cannot become inspired by what God says has expired. When their time is up, you got to let them go. Because even if they were authentically there to encourage you, to impact you, to lift you up, when their assignment is over, they're going to tear you down. They're going to cause you to struggle. They're going to make you feel like you're not worth anything. Why? Because you're holding on to what God says you need to let go of. Am I helping? Am I talking? TTMP. Somebody. Tag somebody. Let them know that nuggets of knowledge is on right now. See, many people don't want to hear this because it challenges you to no longer be comfortable in your comfort zone. Many of us, Lord have mercy, become abused because we become okay We're sacrificing ourselves because we want to hear somebody say they love us, because we want to hear somebody say how good we are. Baby, listen, I have learned, and I'm not old. I'm not old at all. But I have learned, because of the unique way that God has designed me, I've learned a long time ago to encourage myself. And I'm not just talking in my thinking. You'll drive up on side of me and think I got a car full of people because my mouth is moving. I'm talking to myself. Who better to encourage you than the one that knows you best when you're able to be honest with you now? Who's better to help you than you? It doesn't matter what people want for you when they don't want the best for you. The thing that matters is, what do you want for yourself? When do you get to a place where enough is enough? See, because the truth is, God didn't create us here just to exist, but he created us that we would live. Not the Akai life, but that Zoe life. Jesus said, I've come that they might have life and have it more abundantly. That's a different quality of life. And I don't know about you, but if I sit now in heavenly places in Christ Jesus, I ought to be able to experience what heaven has to offer now, not when I get there. Because when I get to heaven, I won't need peace, because there will be nothing to cause me chaos. I won't need healing, because there will be nothing authorized to cause me sickness. These are the things I need now. I need joy now. I need peace with knowing who I am, and I'm okay with that. I need to feel God's presence right now as I go through hell. And I don't mean going through hell because so much is going on. I mean living in this earth realm is hell. What about you? What about you concerning you? Because many of us, Lord have mercy, we become so creative when it comes to us, and we create this lie, and this lie become a bubble that we live in. You should be tired of living a lie inside. You should know, man, if I go to church and pastor is preaching about God and how good God is, and pastor look like God is doing what God said he's going to do, then you know what? I need to get an understanding of how I can get God to do the same for me. This is how I was as a son of my pastor when I was at church. I wasn't running people over to try to get my name called. Matter of fact, the things that I did, I didn't want nobody to know I did them, because I was doing them for God. And if I was doing it for God, then I know God was going to reward me. But I wasn't around there trying to make everybody believe I was the best preacher. I was the only son called to preach. I got out of their way. Those that had that kind of mentality, I got out of their way. Got out their way. You had some that would come and visit, and you know, my pastor was a man of integrity. He loved all. But he'll fool around and call them son, and Lord have mercy. They will run you down, run over you if you let them. Now, I told you I got out their way because nobody was moving me out the way, especially with no foolishness. But I got out of their way and just let them have what they needed to have. Why? Because I knew who I was. I know who I am. I know what God promised me. So I was there to learn from the man of God as I learned of myself as a man of God. I wasn't there to try to impress my pastor, impress people. I was there to be improved. You have a lot of smoke screens now. And unfortunately, people who are not at peace with being who they are, they look at the smoke screen and become so impressed to where they try to develop that same smoke screen for themselves. Do you not know whoever inspire you, there's only one of them? You can't be the next them. One of the things that is so challenging to me, if we bring it down to just everyday thing, sports, why is it that there's always a debate of who's the greatest? Some will tell you Michael Jordan is the greatest. Some will tell you Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest. Some will tell you LeBron James is the greatest. Bill Russell is the greatest. And they all were great and are great. In order to lift one up, you have to tear the other one down. LeBron and no one else will ever be Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan could never be LeBron and anyone else. Why can't we appreciate them for being the best they can be? There'll never be another Kobe. But watch this. I understand the comparison between Kobe and Michael Jordan because Kobe copied everything that Michael did. But I never saw many others trying to duplicate, mimic. I've seen them learn from, but all I've seen LeBron do was just do the best at being who he is. Don't let nobody pin you against somebody else. Because if they do, that means that somewhere they've gotten confused, believing you are trying to be somebody else. If I could make it personal, I'll never forget when the Lord told me when I became a pastor, don't try to be your pastor. And I'm like, Lord, I can't. He's a walking institution. But the Lord told me personally, say, listen, don't try to be anyone else. Because if you do, you're going to rob the world of who I put you in it to be. So I do my very best, giving my very best to be me. And everybody's not supposed to understand that. Everybody's not supposed to be okay with that because people will rob you of your life trying to make you be what they want you to be. But have you tapped into God, asking God to reveal unto you who you are? It's not too late. I don't care if you're in your 60s and your 70s. It's not too late. Have you tapped in and asked God, Lord, who am I? Who am I? See, because oftentimes, if you don't know who you are and God give you prophecy, it's not going to make sense to you because you can't see yourself in the scene that God has revealed to you that he has placed you in. You have to know who you are and you have to be at peace with being who you are. And everything that you are, you have to be willing to offer that to God. That God can live out his purpose through the purpose in which he has placed you here in the earth realm. The Bible talks about in the book of Jeremiah, chapter number 1 and verse number 5. There was conversation that God and Jeremiah was having, that Jeremiah would get education, information, revelation, and insulation. That he would get all of these things to protect him because God was making him understand, I created you to be different. I purposed you to be different. And Jeremiah, I want you to be at peace with being who you are. It was a time when there was so much counterfeiting going on, paganism going on. It was a day and time where monkey see, monkey do. And God had gotten tired of it. Let me stick that nugget here. You know, at some point, when we continually just keep going around, not being who God purposed us to be, there comes a time when you get tired of it. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to see the wrath of God because I refuse to know who I am, who he made me to be. Jeremiah, I called you, son. I purposed you, son. I put something different in you that when everybody speak, it gets people's attention. But when you speak, you get the speaker's attention as well as everybody else. I place something in you that is to draw the eyes of people. People, listen, you talking about they always watching me. They always paying attention to me. God put you here, baby, to be who you are, that people would see you and see the God that's in you. Can God be seen in you and through you when you're busy trying to be someone else? And you know it. Some of you all have been having dreams and visions and having this voice that's been agitating you since you've been young, telling you what to do, telling you what you ought to do, what you ought to become in life, what you ought to start developing. And you just pushed it aside, pushed it aside, pushed it aside, looked at television, looked out the window, heard the radio and heard somebody, and you became inspired by that. You begin to aspire to be that. But even as I sit here today and talk with you and talk to you, that voice is still there. That desire is still there. That's because it won't go away until its assignment has been fulfilled. God said, Jeremiah, understand this. The reason that I am talking with you right now is for you to understand you're not mistakenly where you are. You're not accidentally where you are. And you're not supposed to be happy-go-lucky with what's going on because you're in that place, that region of what's going on. He said, I want you to know before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. Understand, God said before I formed, no, baby, I told you a few moments ago, you were not a mistake. You were not an accident. You were formed. You were formed. You were formed by God. You were formed by God. I don't care how you got to where you are. Let that go. Let the people go that seem to have forced you to be where you are. People look like they messed up and they left the mess up for you to make up. Forget all of that. Let all of that go. You need to gravitate to who you are, that you would understand why you are. They asked the question where Jesus was from, can anything good come from there? Yes, you know why? Because God formed Jesus in the belly of Mary. Just like he formed you in the belly of your mother, the carrier, the one that gave birth unto you into this earth realm. God formed. That means God didn't just say, let it be. It means that God took his time and designed before he compartmentalized it and packaged it. Meaning, God formed, put you there, allow you to be birthed, that now you can live the formula. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. Baby, God has sanctified you long before you got here. He said, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee to be a prophet unto the nation. Do you know what your purpose is? You know now that you were formed. You know now that you were sanctified, but do you know what your purpose is? Jeremiah was purposed to be a prophet unto the nation. Do you know what you were purposed to be? And if you do, are you at peace with it? You may not have many co-signing it, but are you at peace with it? You may not have a lot that's agreeing with it, but again, I ask, are you in agreement with it? Are you at peace with it? There's so much to you that God is waiting for you to tap into. So much. To where the enemy loves to make you down on yourself. He loves to make you blind to yourself. You already know by now. You've been living long enough to know that you're not going to please everybody. I don't care what you do. You can give, but they'll always say you could have given more. You can share, but they'll say you should have shared more. No matter what you do, everybody's not going to be pleased with you. But when you're at peace with yourself and you set out to please God by doing what he purposed you to do, you're not to worry about everybody and what they're saying. Your concern is, what is God saying? Is God pleased with me? Am I pleasing in the eyesight of God? Because if God is pleased with you, it doesn't matter who has an issue. They'll have to take it up with him. Somebody TTMP me. I'm trying to help somebody because, you know, we down here in New Orleans. Yesterday was Mardi Gras. And everywhere you turn, there were costumes, there were masks. There were a whole lot of people trying to be someone else. But I ask you today, who are you? Who are you? And are you at peace with yourself? Are you at peace with being who you are? Go to God and ask God, I know what I've been doing throughout the years, but have I been walking in my ordained purpose? Am I revealing the formula that you formed within me before giving birth to me. Please don't spend another minute living in this world in time that was allotted unto you trying to be someone else. Lord have mercy. You cannot be who God didn't make you to be. Yeah, we look at people and we become, again, inspired. We look at people and we see some things that we wish, could be of us. But have you asked yourself, those that you admire, how miserable are they when they're not in front of you trying to impress you? I can assure you that I've been around hundreds of people regularly and feel all alone. Why? Because many of the people were around just to get what they thought I had. They weren't around me because they were crazy about me. I know some people right now, they love me when I'm around. But the minute I close the door behind me, talk about me like a dog. And that's anybody who get with you talking about somebody else. You best believe when you are going away from their presence, they have gathered others to talk about you. You can't believe you're exempt. No, baby. No, but the cheddar doesn't bother you when you know who you are. I knew they would talk about me, so you know what I did? Because I'm at peace with being me. I control the narrative. I gave them something to talk about. It wasn't my fault that I came from what I came from. It wasn't my fault that I had to go through what I went through. It wasn't my fault that my clothing didn't match theirs and my living, my way of living, if you will, the house we live in, the homelessness. It wasn't my fault that we had to endure these things and they didn't. But I could never worry myself about what they were saying. I just gave them something else to say. See, when people have foundations that's laid before them, they don't have the same struggles you do. So some, instead of helping you, will sit there and talk about you. And you're doing all you can to help them, but they'll sit there and talk about you, drag you down. They'll try to build a wall in your mind that you will never realize you were created to be more than what they think. Some people don't want you to have nothing unless they tell you you're supposed to have it. Some people don't want you to have anything if they don't have it first. People are something else. But I need you to take your eyes off of people and put that attention and that energy on and in you. Because it's never too late. Never too late. Never, ever, ever too late. As a matter of fact, you're talking about how can I start? When can I start? You can start right now. I gave you Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. I gave you Jeremiah 1 and 5. These are things just to help you see you differently, that you can now start understanding you're different by design. You've tried all your life to just blend in, knowing you never fit in. But you got to Be okay with being different. You don't be ashamed of who you are. Don't be embarrassed by who you are. Turn nothing into something. Turn nothing into something. Don't run past your house because you don't want people to know you live there because that's all you have. Be thankful you have a roof over your head and work on getting better. Lord have mercy. Somebody said TTMP. Oh my God. You know, learn that clothes doesn't make you who you are. If you're really at peace with being who you are, you can shop at the local mart and nobody will never know that what you're wearing didn't come from Saks or didn't come from one of those name brand places because they're too busy looking at you. Walk in your swag, walk in your confidence, walk knowing who you are. Clothes don't make you. You have to have the mentality that you make the clothes. Do you not know that someone would be more impressed by your confidence in yourself than they would in how you look? Because what you look like changes. But the confidence in yourself is who you are. That gets stronger. I'm okay with making people mad because I am where God wants me to be. I'm okay with doing what God says to do, regardless of who says what, because they got a problem with that. I'm at peace with being who I am. Are you? Are you? Are you? Because the truth of the matter is, baby, when you're walking in confidence, it supersedes the clothing you're wearing, the car you're driving. Everything that is alive because it has an organ called the heart that pumps blood through it. You're the organ in everything that you're a part of. You're the reason these things are part of you. Weed out the dead grass, the bad grass. Weed out the fictitious people. People who think you're weak. Baby, because I love you, that doesn't mean I'm weak. Don't make me peak because you think I'm weak. Don't take my kindness for weakness. Don't let people change you because they have a problem with you. Know who you are and be at peace with being who you are. God had to bring forth a Jeremiah that he would bring his people back to him. The people of God started slipping away because they couldn't see nobody different. They couldn't see anyone that represented the true God. So God said, Jeremiah, you're up. And I know what you're up against, but know who you are. Be at peace with who you are. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew you. You remember before God made man, he created him first. In one chapter, he put his mind together. gave him rules, gave him understanding. Then the next chapter, he began to make him with his hands. And then he breathed his spirit into man, and everything that God had formed him to be, he then placed it within him and expected him to walk in it. And what happened when he didn't walk in it? He got kicked out. I don't want to get kicked out because I'm not walking in who God created me to be. Let me share this with you. Being at peace with who I am, there are times when I don't like me. There are times when I'm hard on myself because I know I messed up. There are times when the wrong thing come out of my mouth and I discipline myself. Why? Because God deserves more from me. God deserves better from me. I can't be okay because it's okay with me. I believe it's okay with him. No, because watch this. When a man ways pleases God, he'll make his enemy at peace with him. Are you at peace with you? Are you at peace with you? Are you at peace with being who you are? Do you not know? And you know, again, I was a police officer for many years, so I've been in a lot of homes. Do you know that there are a lot of people who don't have mirrors in their house because they don't like what they see when they look at themselves? They have a lot of windows. They can look out and see everybody else being at peace with themselves. But they have a problem with seeing themselves because they're not at peace within themselves, concerning themselves. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and was okay because what you saw in the mirror, you were working on it to become better? See, education system in the school today is diluted and polluted. But that shouldn't stop you from educating yourself. There are a whole lot of teachers in the system today. Just like every other profession, they're there for a paycheck. Not necessarily to do what they were hired to do. Some kids feel at home when they're at school and act like it. Why? Because they know the teacher is just there to babysit them. So they're undisciplined. They're not driven to become better. And then before you know it, society has thrown them away. Do you know how many professors, master lawyers, and doctors that have been lost in the system? But after having to go to jail, they uncover that there's a genius on the inside of them. So they get degrees while being incarcerated, but some of them will never be able to come out and benefit from it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can be incarcerated right where you are, not behind brick walls and bars, but you can be incarcerated in your own mind, in your own spirit, in your own home right now. Asking yourself, am I ever going to get out of this? Will this ever change? You can come out whenever you want to. You got the key. You got the authority to unlock the door and come out whenever you get ready. But if you're not at peace with yourself, with being who you are, you'll come out, but wherever you go, you'll recreate that imprisoned environment. Listen, ask God to reveal to you as he did to Jeremiah. Remember, he told him, I sanctified you and I ordained you. And I ordained you and sanctified you that you would be a prophet unto the nation. You have a purpose. And your purpose isn't always for you to be pulling up the rear. Walking walking behind everybody. You're the head, not the tail. You're above only, not beneath. Lose that mentality. Bind that mentality. Cast down that mentality. David, when God was bringing forth a king, the prophet went to Jesse's house and he saw Jesse's sons. And they looked like they could be a king. But none of them could pass the test. Why? Because none of them were formed and ordained and sanctified to be. So the question was asked, is there another one? You got another son around here? And he said, I got a little lad that's working. He smells like sheep dung. He's out there in the mess with the sheep. And the prophet said, well, since none of these boys that look like, that meet the test, that pass the test in mine eyes, since none of these boys are God's chosen, send for the little lad, fetch him, bring him here. And little David came. I'm sure he had an odor, not an aroma, an odor, because he was out there with the sheep. He smelled like them. And he probably was wondering, why you all are calling me in here when all of my brothers are here? They're stronger than I. They're bigger than I. They're more mature than I. Why am I here? That may be the very same question you're asking right now. Lord, I've been living, but why am I here? Because all I've been doing, as I say I've been living, all I've been doing is just existing. I'm really not living, but why am I here? And as the prophet began to look for confirmation, God confirmed that there was a king over at Jesse's house. Listen to me now. The oil began to flow. But I love what God did afterward. God told the prophet, come here. Let me give you a valuable lesson. I know you went in there and became captivated by the appearance of those young men. Because in your eyes, you believe being a king is all about the qualifications of features, the hair, the complexion, the height, the posture. I know you went in there believing because of what you saw That is what I was looking for. But God said, let me give you a valuable lesson concerning me. He told the prophet, he said, listen, man, look at the outer appearance, but God look at the heart. What's in your heart? You may be everything that everybody wanted you to be, but what's in your heart? What's in your mind, your labor? What's in your mind? What's in your thoughts? What are the motives that motivate you to do what you do? These are questions that you have to ask yourself and be honest with yourself as you ask them. What am I here for? What am I living for? Because I promise you, God purposed you for more than just having a good time every night. I promise you, He created you for more than just self-gratification. He gave the prophet a revelation, education, information. As a matter of fact, He caused the prophet elevation because he learned that God is not like man. You want to know who you are? What you were purposed for? Go to God. Some people in the church work in places that they enjoy being in, but the disposition as they work prove they're out of place. Some ushers should be pew members. Some deacons should be parking lot attendants. See, when you're doing what you do because of God purposing you to do it, it's not for you to pick and choose what that's going to be. Remember Jeremiah 1:5, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou comest out of the womb, I sanctified thee. This was all done before Jeremiah's mother gave birth to him and called him Jeremiah. Your name means something. Do you know what it means? I mean, even your name in the kernel, do you know what it means? Do you know who you are? And are you at peace with being you? I love you today. I really do. Those of you that are still fasting with us until 12 noon, thank you. Praying with us until 12 noon, thank you. And for those of you that's worrying or wondering, should I say what I'm talking about, go back and look at last night's nuggets of knowledge. We were dealing with how people that look like you and I over in Ukraine are being kicked off of trains that's taking people to safety. They're being made to wait in certain areas until the Europeans have been saved. You got to go back and look at it. But God bless you today and every day. Dig deeper to know who you are. Because for some of us, there are layers, 30, 40 years that has been on top of us. And we have to dig through all of that to find us. But find you. And you may be saying, what you mean find me? Well, baby, if you haven't tapped into who you are in over 40 years, you lost. You're lost. But we going to be all right because we're going to make it. I'm going to help you. We in it together. We are in it together. And please, while on the quest of uncovering who you are. Don't accept no wooden nickels. Matter of fact, while gathering an understanding of who you are, fast and pray, pray and fast. Because the wolves know when sheep are vulnerable. The wolves know when there's a problem going on within you. You remember when Satan showed up when God called the sons, book of Job? God asked him, where you been? He said, I've been traveling up and down the earth realm. I've been going to and fro. I'm seeking whom I can devour. Let that settle. Again, I love you. Always remember, the victory was designed with you in mind. All you have to do is stand up in it and walk it out. God bless you today. Walk in victory today. Don't accept no wooden nickels today. And let God have his way. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to tune in tonight. We have Bible study tonight. I know it's normally on Tuesday, but again, yesterday was Mardi Gras. Even if you got to come with your ashes on, bring your ashes to church tonight. That we could have a good time in the Lord. God bless you.